On the morning of the 25th, the president unexpectedly informed me that I was terminated. He explained that his daughter would be taking over my position, and therefore he required my immediate resignation. I stood there, stunned, unable to respond. That particular day was crucial for handling payments to our suppliers, some of which were longtime partners whose transactions I oversaw personally as a gesture of goodwill. Despite this, he suggested I take the day off as a parting gift and quickly ushered me out, the office door snapping shut behind me. My name is Donna, and I've been with this family-owned paving company since high school, working as a clerical assistant for over a decade. The company, with a staff of around 32, had always felt like a warm, welcoming place under the leadership of the founder, who was both president and an active part of our daily operations. His wife, Brenda, often helped with various tasks, and their daughter, Carol, was skilled in both field and office work. Her husband, a well-respected site manager, earned the loyalty of the on-site teams. Despite being the founding family, they treated everyone equally, fostering a harmonious work environment. This atmosphere shifted dramatically when the founder stepped down after a cancer diagnosis, passing the presidency to Carol's husband with everyone's support as we all wished the founder well in his health battles. But an unexpected twist came when the founder's estranged son, Anthony, resurfaced after 33 years of silence. Disowned decades ago, he returned with his family, and the company's dynamic changed almost overnight, marked by my abrupt and disheartening dismissal after years of loyalty. I hadn't known about Anthony's past until his sudden reappearance. Longtime employees shared stories of his troubled youth, recounting his frequent run-ins with the law and multiple instances where his parents had to smooth things over. His issues escalated as he dropped out of high school and became involved in multi-level marketing schemes and fraud, which eventually led his father to disown him. After years of estrangement, Anthony had returned, claiming to have recognized his mistakes and pleading for forgiveness. This tense reunion unfolded in our compact office layout with little space separating the clerical area from the president's office. He expressed his desire to start anew and work for the company, but given his past, it was hard to take his intentions seriously. Nevertheless, the chairman requested that we all give Anthony a chance, asking for a fresh start. Carol and the other senior employees, aware of Anthony's checkered history, struggled to embrace his return but respected the chairman's wishes. Soon after, Anthony and his family moved into an annex of the chairman's house, with Anthony joining the company and his wife helping with household responsibilities. I only saw their daughter once during a brief visit to the office. She looked like a college student. The chairman was convinced that Anthony had genuinely changed after enduring hardships, and Brenda was thrilled to have her son back, hoping it would restore unity within both the family and the company. But this optimism faded quickly. Before long, Anthony began stirring up tension, insisting that, as the eldest son, he was the rightful heir to the presidency. This bold claim soured his relationships with Carol and her husband, the site manager. Despite putting on a diligent front around his father, Anthony contributed little real work and frequently belittled the value of physical labor and those who performed it. His dismissive attitude toward the staff, whom he referred to as mere worker ants, swiftly alienated him. Several younger employees were so demoralized by his behavior that they felt compelled to approach the chairman directly, explaining they could not work under such conditions. Despite these concerns, the chairman and Brenda tried to mediate, urging patience and a broader view of the situation. Meanwhile, the chairman's health deteriorated, possibly from stress, leading to his hospitalization 5 months ago. During this vulnerable period, Anthony unilaterally declared himself president, ignoring the staff's preference for the original succession plan, which designated Carol's husband as the successor. Swayed by parental affection or perhaps clouded judgment, the chairman allowed this change, creating a deep rift within the company. Many employees saw this decision as biased and damaging to the company's previously positive atmosphere. With morale plummeting, Carol and her husband quietly took on the burden of keeping the company afloat. This shift in responsibility meant that many administrative tasks, once shared by Brenda, Carol, and me, fell entirely on my shoulders. I often found myself working late into the night to keep up. Meanwhile, Anthony's commitment was minimal. He spent much of his time at hostess bars, betting on horse races, and gambling. Our interactions grew particularly tense after I confronted him about misusing the company credit card for personal expenses. While I had overlooked a few questionable charges in the past, This incident was impossible to ignore. Returning the receipt to him, I said firmly, "I can't approve this expense." Anthony's response was sharp. "Why not?" I replied, "This is for your wife's corrective underwear. It's not a business expense." Anthony's face flushed with anger. "Don't challenge me. She's the president's wife. It's only natural for her to dress well. This is a valid expense." The exchange left a bitter edge to our already strained working relationship, as Anthony's disregard for boundaries and resources became more evident by the day. I was stunned by his reasoning. The expense was $8,000, a substantial amount by any standard, but his next suggestion left me speechless. "Then let's make selling corrective underwear our new business venture. We'll categorize it as inventory so it counts as an expense." He looked genuinely pleased with this idea. "We're a paving company," I managed to say. Undeterred, he continued, "So what? We'll tell clients that if they don't buy from us, we'll cancel their contracts. Everyone will buy. It's easy money. $38,000 for a set." He laughed at his own idea, but I was horrified. "That's absolutely unacceptable," I responded sharply. "It would ruin our credibility." From that moment on, I became the target of his disdain. Daily, he belittled me, and the situation became so unbearable that I often thought about quitting. But my loyalty to the chairman, who had always supported me, and my concern for my colleagues, who would undoubtedly face more hardship if I left, kept me from doing so. Besides, I couldn't afford to lose my income suddenly. I resolved to endure it, biding my time and planning to leave when I could do so responsibly. Then, unexpectedly, I was fired. As I processed this abrupt turn, I knew my sudden departure would create issues for our clients. With determination, I approached him. "I can't just leave without proper notice and a handover," I insisted. "Your daughter will struggle with the workload on her own, especially today with her supplier payments due." His face turned red with anger. "Shut up. I told you to resign because my daughter is starting today. Let the payments wait until the suppliers come to collect. There's no need to pay them up front." Shocked, I tried to reason with him. "Isn't it normal to pay for something once you buy it?" I explained, as though speaking to a child. He dismissed me with a shocking suggestion. "Then tell them we won't make the payment this time. They should give it to us for free." "That's not how business is done," I replied, astounded. "You're completely useless," he snapped. "My daughter has a college degree. She can handle the office work easily. Unlike you, she won't question my expenses. We don't need someone like you in our company. Leave, now." It became clear he wanted his daughter to take over accounting to justify personal expenses as business expenditures. "Fine," I said, "but don't think I'll regret this." With a heavy heart, I gathered my belongings and left. Concerned for our clients, I immediately called Carol, knowing she and Brenda were preoccupied with the chairman's health, but trusting her to handle the urgent situation. Once outside, I realized I'd been fired without notice, a clear violation of labor standards. If I reported this, the company would face serious repercussions. Since our company was part of a payment support system for small and medium-sized enterprises, I could claim my severance pay and 1 month's salary. There was no need to rush into another job. I walked away with my integrity intact, hopeful that Carol could manage the chaos left behind. Since I could apply for my benefits within 5 years of retirement and the Labor Standards Office had a 3-year statute of limitations, I meticulously mapped out the steps and timeline for my retirement. This plan gave me some much-needed breathing room. I'd been working tirelessly with endless overtime and weekends without a moment to myself. Eager for a change, I decided to take a day trip to the beach to recharge. After a refreshing day by the sea, I checked my phone in my locker, only to find it flooded with missed calls, emails, and voicemails. Among these, an email from Carol stood out. She confirmed that the payment processes had been handled smoothly, and everything was in order, a relief given the tense way I had left the company. Then I listened to a voicemail from the company, hearing the president's panicked voice. "What's going on? They're saying I'm not the real president. Did you know about this? Explain yourself." I couldn't help but chuckle at his distress and delayed realization of his situation. One message in particular caught my attention, a request from the chairman himself. Feeling a sense of urgency, I headed to the hospital that evening. When I arrived, I found Brenda and the president, Anthony, already there in the chairman's room. The chairman, seeing me, apologized from his hospital bed, saying, "Donna, I'm truly sorry for my son's foolishness." Anthony, still arrogant and bewildered, blurted out, "What's going on?" I'm not the official president. Explain yourself. His confusion was evident, but the chairman quickly silenced him with a firm command to quiet down. It turned out that after I had called Carol, she had immediately informed both the chairman and Brenda of the situation. The chairman had then confronted Anthony with a pointed question. Do you really not understand? This revelation was a turning point, bringing clarity to the mess created in the wake of my dismissal. Anthony, visibly agitated and confused, continued to raise his voice. I calmly explained the reality of his position. Anthony, you never actually had any legal authority. Your role as president was essentially a nominal title. I continued, clarifying, in business terms, president is a role within the company but does not automatically carry legal standing. The representative director is the one who holds legal responsibilities for the company's external actions. This role requires specific legal procedures to change, unlike the more informal assignment of a company title. 5 months ago, when Anthony was named president, there had been significant opposition from Carol, the site manager, and veteran employees. To keep things running smoothly, I had suggested a compromise. Anthony would act as a figurehead president, while the chairman retained his legal status as the representative director. With a growing understanding of these distinctions, it was clear that the chairman's trust had been in my knowledge of the company's operations and legal requirements. I understood the implications clearly. The plan was straightforward. If Anthony showed true commitment and earned the trust of the employees, we would start the formal process to make his presidency official. However, if he failed to prove himself as a capable leader, our contingency plan involved either removing him or possibly closing the company altogether, allowing Carol and the site manager to start a new venture. While people like Carol had their doubts, the chairman and Brenda held on to hope for Anthony. That is, until he unjustly dismissed me. This finally opened their eyes to his unsuitability for leadership. If you want to lead, you need to respect and support your employees, the chairman had often reminded Anthony. But Anthony, in his usual dismissive way, brushed it off. It's not a big deal, right? Can't we just take care of the formalities now? No, it's not that simple, the chairman explained patiently. Our company offers stocks to employees who wish to invest, and many have done so. Donna, for example, owns 15% of the company, making her a major shareholder. We can't just ignore her position. This exchange underscored Anthony's fundamental misunderstanding of the responsibilities and ethics of leadership. His face turned pale as he began to grasp the seriousness of his role. I don't own any shares, he stammered, clearly shaken. With a sigh, the chairman replied, I intended to pass my shares to you once you prove yourself worthy as president. I'm disappointed. Were you only interested in the wealth, thinking I had little time left? The chairman's voice trailed off, filled with despair, and he sank back, emotionally drained. Brenda, standing by him, remained silent, visibly troubled by the situation. Defiantly, Anthony muttered, I'm the eldest son. What's wrong with claiming what's rightfully mine? The company belongs to me. His words only deepened the chairman's disappointment. I can't allow this to continue, the chairman declared firmly. As the representative director and a shareholder, I hold the authority to call a shareholders' meeting to discuss your removal. I seized the moment to speak. Mr. President, I no longer wish to work under your leadership. I'm resigning effective immediately. However, I expect my severance, 1 month's salary, and payment for all unpaid overtime and holiday work. I added, as a shareholder, I'll also pursue action through the Labor Standards Office to remove those harming the company. As I spoke, Anthony's expression shifted from shock to pure dread. I continued, Carol has been visiting clients and informing them about our new company, and many have already decided to switch over. Most of our employees are planning to join us as well. That's impossible. I'll sue you. Anthony shouted, his voice breaking. But his threats were empty, as the decisive actions we'd taken had already set the stage for a significant shift. The chairman, standing his ground, asserted, I am the representative director. You don't have the authority to make such decisions. Anthony collapsed, a picture of defeat. Watching him, I felt a mix of regret, disappointment, and a sense of closure. Mr. President, I said, addressing him with finality, it's unfortunate it had to end this way. If you had only tried to learn and adapt, things might have been different. But this is the result of your choices. In the aftermath, the chairman made the difficult decision to close the company, leaving Anthony without a position. Anthony's wife attempted to sell corrective undergarments, but the venture failed. They eventually faced legal trouble for their involvement in a pyramid scheme and were arrested. Carol, returning home, found boxes of unsold inventory, a sad reminder of their failed attempt. Meanwhile, their daughter found work elsewhere, though I don't know the details. I am now happily employed at the new company Carol and the site manager established. Here, I value my relationships with colleagues and the genuine supportive work environment we've created. This experience taught me the importance of ethical leadership and the invaluable strength of a workplace built on integrity and respect.